COVID has not stopped college baseball. Today, I talk one-on-one with College of Charleston head baseball coach Chad Holbrook for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Coach Chad Holbrook, welcome back to the award-winning Quintin's Close-Ups.
Hey, Quintin. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, you're very welcome. Obviously, you're the head baseball coach here at the College of Charleston. And I want to look at a couple of headlines from recently. It reads this from the College of Charleston website. Tuesday's Charleston-Jacksonville matchup postponed, and obviously that's going to be rescheduled. Cougars' late rally falls short in series finale with the USC Upstate. Here's another one from February 27th. USC Upstate edges Cougars 1-0 in pitcher's duel. Let me ask you this. Who is Coach Chad Holbrook these days?
Well, we're not very happy. We don't think we've been playing up to our potential. We got off to a little bit of a slow start. And, the one thing about baseball is it's a long season, and it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And while we've been dealing with a few issues, COVID-related issues and some injury-related issues, we still, when we step out on the field, expect to win. And gotten off to a little bit of a slow start, which is unaccustomed. We're not really accustomed to around here. And hopefully we'll get that straightened out here in the near future.
And what are those COVID-related and injury issues right now that you're focused on?
Well, we've had one of our middle of the lineup hitters has been out, and our starting catcher has been a little bit banged up, and our best pitcher hasn't pitched. One of our best pitchers hasn't pitched, and he'll be with us this weekend. So I think we're starting to get healthy, and we'll be at full strength here real soon. We've had to navigate some of the injuries, and I think that's hurt us a little bit, hurt our performance on the field, maybe hurt our confidence a little bit. But I have a feeling we'll right the ship real soon, and we'll get back to our winning ways.
And let me ask you a redundant question. Where is your confidence right now?
Well, I believe in our team. I have good kids. They work extremely hard at it, and they represent our school the right way, and they go about their business. I'm proud of them, the way they go about their business, and how they represent us on the field, off the field, in the community. They're a good group. I just think they haven't played quite yet the way they want to play, and the way they played last year. Before the virus shut us down, and it's pretty much the same group. So I think they're a little bit shocked. Maybe they got a little bit of that deer in the headlights look as well. They're just a little bit. Wonder what's just happened, because they aren't used to this either. But we gotta, when you get knocked down, you gotta pick yourself back up and get back on your feet and play the way you're capable of playing. I think they'll do that, and I'm looking forward to seeing them do that. We're going to have to do it this weekend against a very, very good team.
Absolutely. How should they play right now, in your mind?
Well, besides the easy answer is to play better. But you play together, play as a team, play together. Play for the name on the front of the jersey, not the name on the back. I know that's just simplistic coaches speak, but it often rings true. When we tell our guys all the time, when you play for each other and you play for the team and you play for your teammates, you not only play your potential as an individual, and I'm hopeful. Hopefully, they've put a little bit too much pressure on themselves. They've tried a little bit too hard. Sometimes in our game, less is more, and I think they've tried extremely difficult, put some pressure on themselves, and it's stunted their growth a little bit. But hopefully, they'll start playing for each other a little bit, and like I said, playing for the jersey in our school and playing for that name on the front of the jersey. And if they do that, I have a feeling we'll reach our potential.
What do you want less from the team that you'll get more out of?
Well, what I mean by that is, we have a saying in baseball. Sometimes, if you care less, you play better. If you relax and just when it's life or death every. Our game is a game of failure. It's a game that there's a lot of Hall of Famers in the Hall of Fame that fail 7 out of every 10 times. So you have to learn to cope with adversity, and you have to learn how to cope with failure. And sometimes when you care less, those guys that are relaxed and just looking forward to the next opportunity, they manage the game a little bit better. They relax a little bit more. They don't try so dang hard, and then they perform up to their potential. I know that's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts, but that's generally the mindset you have to have to be successful on a baseball field.
Let me go back to my interview with you on June 21st, and I did it in the middle of the dead heat in Charleston. But obviously, I talked to you about the response to the multitude of challenges associated with COVID-19, and the Colonial CAA obviously had adopted an innovative scheduling concept for Olympic team sports during the 2020-2021 season. And you told me that it's something that you were trying to balance. What is that balance right now, Coach?
Well, our kids are getting tested 3 times a week. They have, it's not normal. It's not a normal college baseball season or a normal college athletic season. There's, we have to pay close attention with how close we get to one another in the dugout or on the practice field. You try to maintain, that 6 feet distance term, so you won't be identified as a close contact if someone does test positive. And to cope with that, they live with each other. They share apartments. They're college kids, and we have to get tested 3 times a week. So, and they're going to school, and they have a lot of pressure on them in the classroom. So, this is different for the normal teenage college kid. This is not a normal experience, and that's some pressure that's put on them, and it kind of, I don't know the exact right word, but it muffles or their social calendar has to be put on hold, obviously, because of, they don't want to be taken off the field, or they don't want to hurt the team. So they try to limit their exposure to others as best they can, so they won't get a positive test and won't be off the field for 4 weeks. So a lot of these kids are juggling right now, and there's a lot on their plate, and we have to try to be there to support them, because it's not your normal year. And sometimes when you think about it that way, maybe, and talking to other coaches across the country, it does, whether you want it to or not, it may be affecting some performance issues once they get on the field, just because their responsibilities off the field are much greater than they've been in the past.
And I also know that you told me that the virus was probably going to be around in the fall, obviously still here, of course. But the College of Charleston wanted to get to a point where you're going to go feel good about playing sports and competing with baseball again. When did you all get to that point?
Well, our leadership has done a great job, and made us feel good about it. I think, I'm no doctor by any stretch, but, I try to follow the news on this virus as close as I can, because I certainly don't want to be put at risk. I don't want our coaches at risk, and certainly don't want our players to be put at risk. But it looks like these kids are very safe. They're very resilient when it comes to those that do get exposed to the virus. It doesn't look like any of them are getting seriously ill. So as time has progressed, you start to feel a little bit better that this is something that we can manage, and this is something that we can do. But let's still be very, very cognizant of what we're dealing with. Let's protect those that need to be obviously protected, and let's let our kids be kids. And I think that's been the attitude of our leadership, and I think it's been a great one. These kids need a release. They need to get out there and enjoy each other, and enjoy the game of baseball, and enjoy other sports. And it's been a tough year for everyone, and being able to give these young people a release and get out on the field and play and smile and have some fun is has been very good medicine for those kids. And I'm glad our leadership and our league, and there are a lot of baseball programs across the country, has allowed our kids to get back out at playing ball, and I think it's going to be very beneficial for them.
And also in June, you told me that athletic director Matt Roberts and President Shue gave you all flexibility to prepare for a great season. How flexible was your preparation for this season?
Well, as long as we abided by the guidelines that they set forth, which I think was, different, but very, very doable and very fair. I mean, we again, you don't want to put a kid at risk. You don't want to, put any of our coaches or our support staff, our employees at risk. So, they managed this involved. They work with professional doctors and professional folks that study this virus on a that's their jobs. My job is to coach baseball. I don't know much about virology or all those fancy terms that are used to go on with this virus. But it's been a flexible plan that our kids would go through a lot to be able to play baseball, and I'm sure our softball players would, our soccer team would, our golf team. Um, they would go through quite a bit of off the field things from a testing standpoint. Or if you ask them to go see a doctor every day, you ask them to test every day, or you ask them to you know stay 6 feet away from your teammates every day, all the time. They would do it because they love the sport that they're involved in. And while these kids are kids, and sometimes kids make mistakes, and they are in college, I think that the model that's been given to our team and to our athletes here at the college has been very flexible, very dual, and it's allowed our kids, like I said, to get out there and represent our school and enjoy life, and get back to having that camaraderie of being a part of a team that I think is so beneficial in the growth of young people.
Speaking of the team, you said this quote, "We're having a good darn team coming back." Who are those one-to-watch players this season?
Well, we got some seniors that are back. From Ari Sakopoulos has been here. Heck, he's been here longer than I've been here. He's in his fifth year, and he's been in the hitting middle of our lineup, and was off to a great start last year. So he brings us some experience. The middle of our lineup, Harrison Hawkins is a senior that plays left field for us, and we got our pitching staff has some experience about it as well. Jordan Carr is a kind of pitches for us on Friday nights, and he's a fifth year senior as well. So we do have some maturity about us. We just got to play a little bit better. The fact that you're old and mature doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win games, and you got to go out and play. That being said, we do feel good about the youth of our team as well. We can put 5 or 6 freshmen out on the field that started a lot of games for us. So 2 of our 3 weekend starters this weekend against an SEC team in Alabama will be freshmen. So, we feel like we have a great future in front of us. We got a lot of young players, a freshman shortstop that's playing, a freshman third baseman that's playing a lot. Like I said, 2 freshman pitchers. We got some guys in the bullpen that are freshmen. So while we do the core of our team, we do have some great leadership with some guys that are coming back. But when you start looking deep into our roster, you say, well, they got some young talent. And we are excited about watching those freshmen grow up and mature and become really good players.
And speaking of which games, you said that you would be open to playing Coastal Carolina more, and I believe you're going to have the chance, 3 times due May. Well, due May. Tell me, how do you prepare to play them more?
Well, 3 times is probably enough in a college baseball season, because they have a great schedule and a great league that they play in, and obviously we have obligations with the schedule that we have to play. Obviously conference teams and other teams in our state, as well. So, Coastal is a great baseball program, and this is a great rivalry. When we play, there's a lot of energy involved. They want to beat us. Our kids are very respectful of what Coastal has accomplished as a baseball program, and so we have a tendency to it's a very energetic and a very competitive games when our 2 schools get together, and hopefully that'll be the case this year. They got another really good team, and but it just makes sense that 2 teams down here on the coast, not far from one another, play each other. And I'm thankful that Gary Gilmore, the Hall of Fame coach up there, does want to play us, and feels good about the rivalry and feels good about continuing it. So yeah, we'll have our hands full with those guys for 3 games this year, and we're looking forward to it, and it's always a heck of an opportunity and a heck of a challenge when you play those guys.
Absolutely. Let me talk to you about planning. You told me in June that you and your team were going to be aggressive in scheduling your season. What was that secret?
Well, the aggressive part was just to try to get a schedule full, because when we were trying to put together the schedule, there was a lot of teams out there that had their schedules reduced. The number of games that they were allowed to play were reduced. They had to stay in a certain geographic region. They couldn't travel as far. Like, we can't get in a plane this spring and like we do in the past. So, the schedule is more geographic. We're lucky to be in this region where there's a lot of baseball programs around us. So everybody that we play, it seems like, is a very good team. That's our schedule is going to be very challenging. When I use the word aggressive, I meant one, we're going to try to fill up our schedule, and Matt Roberts, our athletic director, has allowed us to play as many games as we possibly can under the NCAA rules and guidelines. So that's been very refreshing. And we're just doing our best to try to fill our schedule up and play as many good teams as we can. And we've played some good teams so far, and obviously don't like the results, but hopefully that'll prepare us as we get into our conference play.
And let me ask you a simplistic question. What are those teams that you wanted to play this year that you just couldn't play?
When from a league standpoint, Northeastern has got a very good baseball team, and we're not going to travel to Boston this year. We're not going to any of the teams in the Northern Division, and generally when we do travel to those cities, it's a good experience for our players. Boston's a great city. We go to Towson and play in Baltimore and stay there, and go downtown a couple times to see downtown Baltimore. So, I mean, there's a lot of experiences that we're going to miss out on because of the geographic schedule. But at the end of the day, we just want to play some baseball, and getting in a bus does a number of things for us. It saves us money. It's not as expensive, obviously, than it is to fly, and so we're helping our budget, but we're also playing really good quality baseball. And there's a lot of good teams around here from Georgia Southern, Coastal Carolina. We were scheduled to go to Jacksonville this week, but Jacksonville got rained out.
Right.
We play Clemson as well. So there's we go up to Wofford, I believe, and play Wofford.
Oh, yes.
So we play a number of teams in our state, and we like to play them all. And I think that makes sense. South Carolina, the one thing about South Carolina, our state, is a very good baseball state, especially at the high school and collegiate level. So I think it makes sense for us to all play each other.
Speaking of high school and collegiate sports, how was your recruiting this year?
We've done well. We're excited about who we got coming in here, and I think every coach will tell you that they feel good about their recruiting class. But yeah, I mean, our kids are highly thought of. Those folks that rank them nationally and talk about high school kids that get paid to do that. They think a lot of our class as well, and we're excited about getting them here. We have to dodge the draft a little bit, because our high school kids are eligible for the Major League Baseball draft, and hopefully we'll get lucky on that front and get our entire class here next fall. And if we do, we'll have a lot of good players out here running around our field, and that's certainly what every coach wants, is some good kids and good players, and hopefully these recruits that are coming in will bolster our team and improve our team. And that's the goal of every recruiting class.
And what are the total recruits right now?
Say that again, Quintin.
Yeah. Well, how many recruits did you have thus far?
You usually try to bring in, and it varies from year to year based on your needs and expectations and how many kids you're going to lose. Like if you don't have a lot of seniors or you don't have a lot of guys leaving, then your recruiting class will be smaller. Whereas if you have a lot of seniors and you have a lot of turnover, your recruiting class probably is going to be bigger, because ultimately the NCAA puts a limit on your roster. Even though we don't have a roster limit this year because of COVID, usually your roster size can only be 35 players. So with that being said, generally speaking, I'd say the average recruiting class is going to be anywhere from 12 to 14 players for us. And it might be minus a couple or plus a couple, depending on what year you're talking. But generally speaking, we're going to stay in that number. So we'll have 12 to 14 players coming in, and it's ever evolving. You never stop recruiting. We might add a guy, we might add some guys later in the year, or we might add a transfer later in the year that comes in next fall. So I would say, at the most, our class will probably be 14 or 15, and at the very least, 10 or 11.
Coach Chad Holbrook, thank you so much for your time. And again, welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thanks for thinking of me, Quintin, and having me on. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome anytime.